Welcome, everyone. Today, we're unpacking the absolute foundational blueprint of Pakistan's constitutional history, the Objectives Resolution of 1949. If you're prepping for your PAK301 exams, this is a must-know topic, and I am super excited to guide you through it. Okay, let's dive right in. Here's our agenda. First, the historical background. Second, key features of the resolution. Third, its significance and philosophy. Fourth, objections by non-Muslims. And finally, legacy and exam practice. This structure literally covers everything you need to know to ace this topic.
All right, Section 1, Historical Background and Introduction.
Imagine a brand new nation. It's just been born, but it urgently needs a set of foundational rules to guide its future structure and laws. That brings us to March 12, 1949. You're gonna want to write this down and commit it to memory. This is the crucial day Prime Minister Liaquat Ali Khan successfully moved this vital constitutional document in the Assembly.
Let's trace the chronological steps here. In 1947, the very first Constituent Assembly was formed under the Indian Independence Act. Now, initially, the Assembly had just 69 members, but later, as more states integrated, it expanded to 79 members, which ultimately culminated in 1949 with the formal approval of the resolution. Keep a close eye on these statistics because exam graders love to test them.
Moving on to Section 2, Key Features of the Resolution. Get ready to take some mental screenshots here, guys. It's absolutely crucial that we understand these first 5 pillars. Number 1, sovereignty over the entire universe belongs to Allah Almighty. Number 2, the authority delegated to the state is a, quote, sacred trust. Number 3, this constitution is designed for a sovereign, independent state. Number 4, state powers will be strictly exercised through chosen representatives. And number 5, the state will follow Islamic principles like democracy, freedom, equality, and social justice. Notice those key terms: sovereignty, sacred trust, and representatives. Seriously, those are your exam lifelines. And this brilliantly illustrates the remaining 5 foundational points. 6, Muslims will be enabled to live their lives according to the Quran and Sunnah. 7, minorities are completely free to practice their religion and culture. 8, the state will actively protect the interests of minorities and backward classes. 9, Pakistan will be structured as an autonomous federation. And 10, the state will secure prosperity and its rightful place in the world. The concepts of an autonomous federation and those explicit minority protections are huge ideas to grasp here. Okay, Section 3, Significance and Core Philosophy. So this was actually a massive philosophical pivot. In traditional Western democracy, the core philosophy is the sovereignty of the people, meaning power is viewed as an absolute, inherent right of the citizens. However, the Objectives Resolution introduced the distinct concept of the sovereignty of Allah, where power is seen as a sacred trust that's used within strictly delegated limits. It's a fascinating contrast in political philosophy. Let's see how this actually builds into the broader legal framework of the country. We need to clearly define the word preamble. A preamble is simply an introductory statement in a document. The Objectives Resolution wasn't a complete constitution on its own, but it became the basic primary document. In fact, it served as the literal preamble for every single future Pakistani constitution. We're talking 1956, 1962, and 1973. Section 4, Objections by non-Muslims. You know, when studying history, it's essential to look at the complete picture. Non-Muslim members of the Assembly had specific historical friction and totally valid concerns with this document, and you'll definitely be tested on them. Let's objectively detail the 4 exact fears raised by the Congress members. First, they argued that mixing religion and politics directly opposes the fundamental nature of democracy. Second, they worried that the concept of sovereignty of Allah might create inequality among citizens of different faiths. Third, Sharia was viewed as potentially insufficient for modern complex times. And finally, there was a genuine fear of the country becoming a theocratic state. So how did the leadership respond to these concerns? Well, the Muslim League framed their stance as a modernist approach. They essentially described the resolution as a middle way between Islamic laws and international democratic values. They argued it wasn't an extreme theocracy at all, but rather a carefully balanced compromise that honored both faith and modern democratic governance.
And finally, Section 5, Legacy and Exam Practice.
All right, let's shift the energy up. It's time for a rapid-fire multiple-choice session to really lock in that active recall. Question 1. When was the Objectives Resolution approved? Is it A, March 1947, B, March 12, 1949, C, August 1947, or D, March 1956? Take a quick second to lock in your guess.
Did you get it? The correct answer is B, March 12, 1949. Fantastic job if you remember that crucial date from the very beginning of this explainer.
Let's jump to the next one. Who moved the objectives resolution in the assembly? Was it A, Quaid-Azam, B, Liaquat Ali Khan, C, Ayub Khan, or D, Iskander Mirza? Think back to the prime minister who really championed this document.
And the answer is B, Liaquat Ali Khan. Remember, he was the first prime minister and the key figure behind officially moving this resolution. Moving on to a bit more of a conceptual question. What was the primary objection raised by non-Muslims? Was it A, federalism, B, language issues, C, mixing religion and politics, or D, election system?
The correct answer is C, mixing religion and politics. This ties directly into those concerns over the sovereignty of Allah and that overarching fear of becoming a theocratic state. Okay, here is our final MCQ for the session. How was the resolution incorporated into future constitutions? A, as a separate chapter, B, as the preamble, C, as a reference only, or D, it was not included. Think about the long-term legacy of this document. Spot on. It is B, as the preamble. And this is exactly why it's considered the foundational blueprint of the nation's entire legal framework. To wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a provocative thought. How does the blueprint of the Objectives Resolution continue to visibly shape Pakistan's constitutional identity today? Think deeply about that as you review your notes. Thank you so much for joining me, and I wish you the absolute best of luck on your exams. Keep studying smart, and I'll catch you in the next one.